Hi, guys. So, I don't know if you remember this, but I did talk quite a bit in a few Miss Peregrine videos saying that I might watch the Peculiar Children movie. And you know what I did? I saw it. And you know what I also did? I didn't see the reviews, but I saw the percentage ratings on it. They were all roughly 40 to 50%. That seems a little too fair, in my opinion, because the movie was way too bad. Way too bad! Oh my god, it was the worst thing I've ever seen! No, seriously. The temper has not gone away, guys. It's not going away. If I had a peculiarity built ability, it would actually be to explode and destroy everything that I hate. And this abomination of a film would be gone. Because I hate it. I hate everything about it. It is so bad. The ending gave me the worst headache I've ever had. It was too terrible. But let me go ahead and start off real quick by explaining a few things that were different from the book and the movie. I'm not done venting here. My hand's shaking, if you can tell. Yeah, that's me. I actually. You know what's funny today? I showed my brother Lord of the Rings, and he respects the movie. He likes them. He just says they're not his cup of tea. I can respect that. My friends, who now I have to question their taste in filmography, even after they read the books, said that the movie was good and was accurate to the books. No, it wasn't. Not even close. For one thing, many of the things in the books and movies are very different. It was way too lighthearted and corny. Oh my god, it was. Ranger, no, I don't need you to cuddle me. Oh my god, she's doing it anyway. I think she understands my pain, though. Go ahead, Ranger. I need cuddles. I need this. I need your warmth and your affection. Okay. Let me go ahead and say this. Uh, the difference wise, many of the characters, uh, peculiarities and ages and personalities are extremely different. For example, Fiona's age and personality is extremely off from the book. In the book, she's selectively mute and she's an older teenager. And the reason why she's selectively mute is because she had a really crappy time during the Great Potato Famine in Ireland. And in this in this movie, she's a cute little braided pigtailed girl who's happy, cheerful, and pleasant. Millard still has his invisibility, but he went from a, a teenager roughly around the same age as Jacob to being a 10-year-old. Enoch still has his ability, but he was aged up to like the same age as Jacob, when in the book he was described to be about 13 years old. You could even read the original book and find photos of these kids and see them as how they're described. Hugh still has his B ability, but he's like roughly around the same age as Fiona. And not only that, but they don't even have any romantic interest in each other because they're children. They're not teenagers. That is the most irritating thing I've ever had to watch. I mean, in the book, I thought they were so cute together, and it was so tragic when, spoiler alert, Fiona either disappeared or died. Because Hugh is going through this huge depression over Fiona's disappearance / possible death. Hey, hey Daddy.
Oh.
Yeah, I got kitties.
Oh, yeah, you got all the cats now, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you're just checking on the cats? Okay. That was my dad. And they lowered their ages to small children. And for some reason, from what I saw in the trailer of the Peculiar Children movie, I knew right away that Emma and Olive were going to have their abilities switched. I didn't get a good look at Olive. She didn't look that old. But when I got a good look at her, I was instantly furious. And then when I found out how close her and Enoch were in the movie, only to know that she's really young in the book. Like, in the book, she's described looking like a 7-year-old. And she's really probably one of the youngest kids in the book. Well, as far as, appearance goes. And maybe loop-wise goes, because, she's like maybe 75 and a half. My brain can't take this. Like, why did Tim Burton have to, like, do that? What did those two have in common? Enoch likes raising people from the dead. And he's a little... I mean, look, I started liking Enoch by the time the 4th book came around, because I started hating the 3rd book, and, once he started saying things that him and I agreed with, I'm like, thank you! So yeah, I like Enoch now, sue me! Don't really. I don't have any money to defend myself, but I'm gonna bitch the hell out of this movie, and I don't care who says otherwise. It's like, I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. I'm gonna literally stand on my platform as this meme as this person that says the book is better than the movie. Try and convince me otherwise. Because the book is better than the movie. Alright? The movie was terrible. And Samuel Jackson, why did Samuel Jackson have to be like Baron or whatever the frick his name was? Honestly, he was the worst out of everything in this movie. And not only that, but Miss Peregrine, she wore black in the series because Victor died. And not only that, but Hollows did go. They didn't. It's hard to explain. I remember bits and pieces of the book, but all I know is that they didn't quite go through time loops in the book, as far as I know. I mean, they can live in time loops. I mean, obviously, but in the movie, like a hollow went through the time loop and killed Victor. In the book, Victor got sick and tired of living in the time loop. He bailed it, and he was killed by a hollow. And then they took his body back and let him lie in bed. And considering that they lived the same day over and over and over, his body doesn't decay. So, yeah! And what else is there that kind of like I do say one thing that I did like is they had those little twin boys with the clown masks. That's kind of cool. They did get Horace's personality down right. His peculiarity, not so much. I mean, his peculiarity doesn't project out of his eye like some sort of like movie. It's kind of cool, I guess. It was. I mean, I will go lenient on it this much, though. Why did Emma have to float? Was it because, it was more magical this way? It was more enchanting and beautiful and all. I'm already disgusted with the whole Emma and Jacob relationship as it is, and I'm already kind of pleased with how realistic it turned out when they broke up. I mean, come on, we can agree on it this much, right? But seriously, why'd she have to float? Stupid. At least they got Emma. At least Tim Burton got her age right, and her relationship with Abe, it wasn't even a high focus on, though. And there wasn't even an extremely high focus on her relationship with Jacob. It was like hint, hint, nudge, nudge type thing. It's kind of dumb, actually, now that I think about it. Also, Bronwyn was really young in the movie. She's roughly around the same age as Emma, Jacob, and Millard, actually, in the book. She still has her strength. Not much is accurate. This is my tea. Because I'm going to be needing a lot of this for this video. Because I have a lot of salt in me. And I need tea to sweeten me up. They got Abraham right. The only thing is like I don't remember him using that his nickname Turskrug. I don't know Polish. Any Polish people that might be watching me are gonna hate me for this. But I don't remember him using that Polish nickname for Jacob in the first book. He always called him Jakob or Jacob. And I only remember him using that nickname for Jacob in the fourth book, Tim Burton. Did you get those rights early on off the bat from Ransom Riggs? Did you take them from him? Did you hold him hostage at gunpoint and just, before anyone else got the fourth book? Did you just go ahead and take the manuscript and flip through it and you're like, oh, this is cool, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the fourth book? Or did Ransom Riggs actually look at this and think, oh, that's kind of cool, I like that, I'm going to put this in my book? What'd you guys do? Did you guys conspire together for this? To be fair, I'm not going to complain a lot on that. Not a lot. Jacob did hate his job at his mom's chain grocery store thing. I'm not going to complain about his relationship with his father because that was pretty spot on in the book. I'm not going to complain too much about his time with his so-called psychiatrist, but there was a lot more going on with his psychiatrist in just a few weeks. I trying to remember something else that I forgot. The Hollows. I know my friend Kane said that the Hollows did look like a Slender Man, but see, from the witness sketch that Jacob gave to the police after his grandfather passed, they didn't 100% look like a Slender Man. I mean, they did and they didn't, okay? They didn't walk around wearing tuxedos. Let me go ahead and say that right now. Also, they did have eyes, okay? And also, I think they did have hands and fingers. So many things I disagree with the movie. What else is another thing? Also, he got a ride over there to his grandfather's house via his friend, not his manager. Although I do kind of see it being more realistic to get a ride from his manager. Also, if we're gonna go for accuracy, wouldn't it be more possible for Jacob to call 911 as soon as he sees what is possibly a break-in inside his grandfather's house instead of excuse me, calling 911 as soon as he sees his eyeball-less grandfather? Just saying, Tim Burton. Just saying. Also, don't even get me started on the ending. That is just a whole load of bullshit. Because one has the kids fighting a bunch of hollows in a white out in broad daylight with a bunch of normals witnessing all this action. In modern times, they wouldn't do this ever. They might, because they did slip up a few times in the fourth book. But in the third book, that was unheard of. Okay? Samuel Jackson playing Dr. Golan, or Baron. Baron wasn't the orchestrator of the White Hollow thing. It was someone else. It was actually freaking Miss Peregrine's brother. Both of her brothers, actually. She has brothers, by the way. Spoiler alert if you're watching. And also Samuel Jackson. Also, let me go ahead and say this. I do like and I hate that, he's the one. Baron is the one that is the master of disguise because that's his peculiarity. But see, the thing is that all whites are masters of disguises. They can be whoever the frick they want to be. All of them. I mean, God. I'm getting lightheaded from all this ranting. Also, this is stupid because there was this scene where earlier on in the movie where Baron said that he could change his form into anything he wants except for his eyes. And then they did the most cliche thing that I ever said. That I've not ever said. I'm sorry. I am so upset with this scene that I actually can't even talk straight. My mouth is not even connected to my brain right now. It was a situation where you've seen it before. Everyone's seen it. You walk into a room and you're carrying a weapon with you. You see two people. One is your friend and one is the enemy, but they look exactly the same. And they're telling you, and they're both trying to convince you that one is the enemy and the other is your friend. Really? Really? I, I have no words. I have nothing. Anyway, also, Baron was the weakest boss villain in the movie, by the way. He was all boasting, saying he's the most badass, most intelligent, most toughest guy around, and really, he's just all talk, honestly. He couldn't even stand up to a fellow Hollow, let alone a couple of teenagers that were like throwing their peculiarities at him. Honestly, it was kind of pathetic to watch. And honestly, it kind of felt like I was looking at a review of Nostalgia Critic talk about Samuel Jackson in a movie called Sin City, because Samuel Jackson was in a role where he was playing as the bad guy called the Octopus, and the Octopus happened to be a black Nazi. See where I'm going with this? Honestly, Samuel Jackson, maybe you should actually reconsider any other script you get from your agent, because honestly, this was not a good role for you. I mean, I've seen you play really good bad guys, just like I've seen you play really good guys, in gray area moral characters. I don't think you should ever be in a young adult teen movie ever again, or any movie that takes a really dark themed novel and tries to put it into a lighthearted thing, because this was just bad. Also, I was actually kind of impressed that because the fighting took place in broad daylight, in most of the kids were in the fourth book were freaking out at everything they came across, such as sliding doors, security cameras, security alarms, drive-throughs. Over at restaurants, there was like a passing by like a you know train thing over in London, and they didn't even once respond to that or anything else because they were on some sort of pier with a bunch of like carnival things. They didn't freak out at that. It was like just another day to them. I'm sorry, but you were stuck in the year 1943 for 70 years. At least freak out a little at modern day technology. Also, the normals, or everyone else at least, I'm surprised that they weren't flipping out their phones and recording this shit. I would have. You would have. Seeing a bunch of people throw snowballs and a bunch of other confetti shit at invisible creatures that were taking shape and form, and a bunch of other like skeleton creatures attacking those said invisible creatures and everything else. I mean, come on. Wouldn't you want to like record this insanity and maybe get 20 million hits on YouTube? Let's be real here. Anyway, apparently we get the worst, corniest ending ever that I've ever seen. Where apparently earlier on, Jacob calls his grandfather, tells him he loves him, and apparently that phone call was the butterfly effect he needed for his grandfather to apparently survive his hollow attack. And when he goes and meets his grandfather in the present, his grandfather tells him to go back to the ship that was resurrected from, the depths, to hang out with the other peculiar children. Oh, by the way, they also resurrected a sunken ship from underwater somehow, and it's pretty much like straight out of Jurassic World, where two boys hotwire a dead Jeep that's hasn't been used in 20 years. there are so many things wrong with this film. I mean, let me go ahead and say this right now. If you watch the film without reading the book, I'm sure it's okay. The 50 to 40% ratings that people give it, I'm sure is okay. Me, it's not even an eh. It's worse than an eh. It's awful in my opinion. I can't even stand this film. I I was so furious with this film that it actually started giving me an absolute headache. I was screaming at it, I was yelling at it. I was so done with that movie. But that's my 2 cents about this god awful film. And as always, critics don't know what they're talking about when they say that movie is good. And I'm pretty sure my friends are a little crazy when they say that they liked it. And the books are always better than the movie. As always, keep reading, guys. Good night.